It's the rubber match between the Foresters and the Blues, and it comes your way from Pershing Park in Santa Barbara. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jack Smith, joined alongside Nate Mills. Nate, the first two games in this series have lived up to the expectations. Back-to-back 10-inning contests where the road team has come away with a victory. What can we expect with a win, a series win on the line for both teams in Game 3?
Yeah, it's been an exciting first two games between these two teams in the series so far. You know, we've been seeing a lot of good pitching from both sides of the diamond, and I think we should expect some more of that coming forward. You're just having to wait and see if the offenses will come alive in this Game 3 here.
We're getting a first pitch here from Pershing Park, but the first two games of this series, they've been crazy, Nate. The road team has ended up winning both games in extra innings. The first game, the Foresters rolled into Sinsheimer Stadium, 2,466 fans in attendance, but the Foresters come away with a 2-0 shutout victory in the 10th. Then the Blues come back from down 5-1 here just a couple of days ago at Pershing Park and win at the end by a score of 5-3. So the Blues come away with the win, and now they've got a chance to win the series, something they haven't done against Santa Barbara in 2 summers.
Yeah, good to see the two teams train some blows and the Blues coming back for their first comeback win of the season. So it's good to see some life coming from that Blues offense from this series as well.
We've got National Anthem on the way here at Pershing Park, and we're going to let you take a listen.
Please stand, remove your caps, and join the two teams in honoring America with the playing of the National Anthem.
Back here at Pershing Park, just finished up the National Anthem here as we get set for the Santa Barbara Foresters and the San Luis Obispo Blues. Media again after an exciting finish on 4th of July here. An extra innings win for SLO, and that had to feel real good. Want to reference back to when I talked about the offense coming alive. It's kind of hard to say. They had 3 hits, but it was the 4 errors that supplied the Blues their win, and that seems to be a quality that we've been seeing throughout the whole year. The free ones eventually leading into a pass ball or a balk or something that scores in a run.
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, the winning run of the game was scored on a balk in the 10th inning. And, of course, the Blues pitching, we have to give them a lot of credit. And the hitters, they did get on. But a lot of the times, they haven't exactly needed a hit to bring in the runs, but they're trying to find a way to break through. And I think the game that they finally have where they're hitting with runners in scoring position and they score a boatload of runs against a league opponent, I think that's going to be kind of the catalyst for this team to go on a run.
Yeah, still waiting for that game to show up. But it's so interesting that it happened against a team like Santa Barbara, who's got excellent pitching. You wouldn't suspect the pass ball or the balk to be the difference in the game between the two. But it just so happened to end that way, and hopefully they can carry that momentum and actually end up scoring with runners in scoring position with some extra base hits or some singles.
The Foresters are taking the field. Let's walk you through the starting lineup today for your San Luis Obispo Blues. It's Giovanni Blanchette to lead things off. The left fielder leading the team with a .350 batting average is in the leadoff spot for Dean Traynor. Theo Hardy, the switch-hitting shortstop, bats second from San Jose State. Cam Constantine, the Texas right fielder, is in the 3 spot, batting .278 with 5 runs batted in. Matt Spear cleans things up. The San Jose State catcher has a home run and a run batted in so far this summer. Zach Tollerman, the first baseman from Cuesta College, hits 5th. Justin Trimble behind him in the DH spot from UCSB. Lee hits 6th. Cody Darcy starts the bottom third of the lineup from Arkansas State. He plays third base today. Jariah Lewis is in center field from San Jose State and bats 8th. And in the 9th spot, it's Sam DiCarlo, the second baseman from the University of Washington. On the hill for the Santa Barbara Foresters, it's Zane Petty, the 6-foot, 165-pound right-hander from Texas Tech, who is 2-0 with a 3 ERA and 9 innings pitched so far this summer with 11 strikeouts after a 5.68 ERA freshman season and 38 innings pitched for the Red Raiders. For the Blues in this first inning, it'll be Blanchette, Hardy, and Constantine. And Nate, you've seen the Blues offense for a while. What do you think the diagnosis is for how they turn things around?
Well, the way they turn things around is get on that fastball and have some good swings on the fastball as well. There's not really a great approach when it comes to those pitches. I feel like they're getting a little too big. They're getting a little too Happy Gilmore-ish when they get a pitch that they like, and I feel like the mechanics kind of fly out the window. I think if they can really hone in on what they work on off the field on a pitch that they like, they'll start finding the holes a little bit more.
We'll see if they can get the job done today. The Blues are 6-8, 4 games back of the Foresters, who are in first base. But the Foresters only 1 game up on the Orange County Riptide, so they're trying to come through with a win today and keep their lead in the CCL South. And it'll start here in the top of the first. Blanchette, Hardy, Constantine due up in this rubber match between the Blues and the Foresters. Blanchette, who recently entered the portal from St. Mary's, as we mentioned, hitting .350 to lead the Blues so far this summer in league play. He's also knocked in 3. Blanchette takes a long look at his bat before stepping in the back of the right-hand batter's box. Just past 6 p.m. here in Santa Barbara as Petty from the windup comes set and the first pitch of the ball game. Blanchette cracks it foul. And we saw that a lot yesterday, or 2 days ago, Nate, where every batter, it seemed like, was ahead on that fastball and fouling it way down the left field line.
Well, it's kind of a good sign right there, attacking the first pitch fastball. That's a very hittable pitch, and I like Blanchette's approach on that, swinging first pitch.
No balls, 1 strike as the Texas Tech right-hander deals. And that fastball is a little bit low, 1 ball and 1 strike. We saw the Blues in the last game. Robert Kranz was on the hill. He struck out 7 hitters through the first 3 innings. And so the Blues were a little bit behind on his fastball. So you're right, good to see Blanchette a little more out in front. As the 1-1, Blanchette pops it foul again, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
He's not missing by much. He's just a little out in front on that fastball, which is looking to be pretty heavy coming into that zone. Also pretty flat. But I'm liking where Blanchette's mind's at right here on this approach.
We've seen nothing but the heat so far from Zane Petty. We'll see if he varies it up with a 2-strike count. He buries his face in his glove, kicks and deals, and Blanchette takes strike 3 call. So Petty starts the game the same way Kranz did the other day with a strikeout. And with 1 away, here's the defense for the Santa Barbara Foresters. In the outfield from left to right, it's Rogers, Pace, and Ballou. Right side of the infield is Galvan and Kendro. Left side, Flores and Patterson. As Newman catches, Black is the DH.
And Petty didn't deviate much on that at bat right there. He just went right back to the fastball, right back down the middle.
So backwards strikeout to start the game, and now Theo Hardy behind on the fastball, 0-1.
Looks like he's just going to keep going with that until the Blues figure it out.
Hardy, the switch-hitting shortstop, batting left-handed with the righty on the hill. 258 hitter with 5 runs batted in the CCL South. 0-1, and Hardy takes in the dirt, 1 ball and 1 strike.
It's that first breaking pitch we've seen, slider in the dirt.
Quieter day here at Pershing Park than on the 4th of July, where we saw a record crowd for the Foresters this season. Much more mellow day as Hardy swings at the 1-1 and pops it foul. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
That's a lot quieter.
And the other game was a 4 p.m. start. This one a 6 p.m. start. So the entire game, I feel like we're going to have that sun just beating down straight into the eyes of left-handed hitters. It's hard to see even where the ball goes off the bat. But Petty ready. Here's the 1-2. Hardy takes outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Petty takes a big deep breath, steps back on the hill. The right-hander works from the third base side of the rubber as he fiddles with his glove, comes set. Now the offering, and Hardy takes high and outside, and the count moves full.
It's a good lead by Theo right there. It's a pitch that Blues hitters have been going after in their at-bats so far this season. It's a fastball up, not in the zone.
So full count, Hardy a chance to be the first Blues base runner here in the first inning. Middle infield plays him slightly to pull. That's Petty. Delivers. Hardy takes. Strike 3 call for a second straight batter. 2 straight strikeouts looking for the Blues, and there are 2 away.
Yeah, it's the fastball right down the middle again. The Blues want to have success and turn their season around like we were talking about in the pregame and putting the barrel on the ball and manufacture runs like that. They got to swing at that fastball for strike 3. It's too close to take.
A lot of strikeouts for the Blues in yesterday's contest, or 2 days ago. Same thing for the Foresters, though. Pitching has dominated this series so far. 2 games that have gone to the 10th. As Petty deals to Cam Constantine, and Constantine takes way high, 1 ball and no strikes.
And Petty's been pretty fastball heavy so far. So if I'm San Luis Obispo, I'm going to be sitting on that for most of the at-bat. Doesn't look like the slider does much. Kind of a cement mixer a little bit. So I'm hunting that fastball.
Petty ready once again, the 1-0. Constantine takes it right down the middle, 1 ball and 1 strike. The Blues struck out a total of 14 times on the 4th of July. Still managed to get the win, 5-3 in extra innings, but the K's certainly added up across the first 2 games of this series. 1-1, and Constantine takes the same pitch, the same result, 1 ball and 2 strikes. So, Zane Petty a strike away from getting out of the first inning, trying to go 1-2-3 to start this game off. Get the Foresters in the dugout to bat for the first time. He stares in at his catcher, Newman. Comes set and comes home. And Constantine strikes out swinging. Petty strikes out the side. Second time the Blues have done that in a row in the first inning. As we head to the bottom of the first, the Foresters will come up. It'll be Patterson, Black, and Ballou. Welcome back to baseball on the SLO Blues streaming network. Here's the lineup the Foresters will throw out there in the rubber match of this series. Bottom 1, it'll be Daniel Patterson, the third baseman from Westmont, to lead things off. Ryan Black, the lone left-handed hitter in this entire lineup. The DH from UT Arlington hits second. Max Ballou, the right fielder from Texas, is in his usual third spot. And then same thing for the cleanup spot. It's Will Rogers, the left fielder from Arizona State. John Newman does the catching today from UCSB. He will bat fifth. Rylan Galvan, who caught the first game of this series, moves to first base today. The Texas first baseman will bat sixth. Jalen Flores, his Longhorn teammate, the shortstop, hits seventh. Jake Kendro, the second baseman from Tennessee, hits in the eighth spot. And then it's Greg Pace, the center fielder from Michigan, who rounds things out. On the hill for your San Luis Obispo Blues, it's Caden Tynes, the 5'11", 185-pound right-hander from Cuesta College, carries a 1.59 earned run average in CCL play, and Nate, he's been electric across his last two relief outings.
Yeah, a guy we normally see coming out of the pen, getting the nod today at Pershing Park. But I'm liking the stuff I see. I'm liking that slider a whole lot from Tynes, so we'll see if he'll be living there today. This is a lineup that doesn't seem to like to hit the slider that much, so he could be living there.
Here's Daniel Patterson, the leadoff hitter. He's been in that spot all three games in this series, and he's been what's really driven the slow Santa Barbara Foresters offense as he starts this game off with a line drive into center field. Another base hit for the Westmont third baseman. And right on cue, Daniel Patterson picks up where he left off in the last game, and he's got another base knock.
Yeah, and he's seeing it really well right now. He just goes first pitch, fastball, center cut, and just takes it right back up the middle. That's something the Blues offense could learn from.
Here's Ryan Black, the DH from UT Arlington, 232 hitter with 6 runs batted in. And you have speed at first as well. And Daniel Patterson, who's 7 for 9 on stolen base attempts. But Black, the only left-handed hitter, as a pick goes to first, and Patterson is back in. So 8 righties in the lineup today against the right-hander Caden Tynes. Black played second base in the first game of the series, DHing today after a day off on July 4th. as Tynes comes set from the stretch, looks to Patterson, now comes home, and Black takes the fastball high, 1 ball and no strikes. Already a runner on here in the bottom of the first as Patterson gets his lead. 1 ball, no strike count, another pick back, and Patterson dives in safely, dirtying up the white uniform here early. Tynes, another look back at first. Paranoid about Patterson's speed. He delivers. Patterson takes off. The pitch is off the inside corner. Spears' throw is way late, and Patterson's in there. Another stolen base for Patterson, his 8th of the summer, and now a runner in scoring position with nobody out here in the first.
I said the same exact thing yesterday when he did the same exact thing yesterday, just putting pressure on. That's what Santa Barbara does best.
So now an RBI opportunity for Ryan Black, who's knocked in 6 this summer. The DH from UT Arlington hits now with Patterson at second, nobody out here in the first. As Tynes comes set at the belt, looks to second, and now deals. Black hits a pop-up on the infield. The shortstop, Theo Hardy, calls for it right as he crosses Patterson, the base runner, and right in front of the second base bag, puts away the first out of the inning. So a good response from Tynes to the stolen base, gets Black to pop out, and with 1 away, here's Max Ballou.
That's a good out to get right there, especially to a dangerous hitter like Black, who had a phenomenal season at UT Arlington. Getting him able to pop up like that with a runner on second base is pretty big.
Here's Max Ballou, who's having a phenomenal season with the Foresters. 375 average, a home run, 9 runs batted in for the right fielder from Texas. As Tynes kicks and deals, and Ballou takes the breaking ball outside, 1 ball and no strikes. And I realize now that I think the Foresters messed their lineup card up because they had Ballou listed as a right-handed hitter, and he's a lefty. So not just one left-handed hitter in the lineup today, but a 1 ball, no strike count on the Longhorn as Tynes comes set, now comes home, and Ballou a big swing and a miss at the fastball, 1 ball and 1 strike. Ballou, the reigning CCL South hitter of the week. You have 2 reigning CCL South hitters of the week on this field. You have Theo Hardy, who just got the pop-up at short, who won the inaugural award, and now Ballou, the most recent winner, who's been quieted down a little bit more in this series by Blues pitching. A look to second, 1-1 on the way. And Ballou takes the breaking ball on the outside corner, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, there's that slider, locking up hitters per usual.
Ballou has played right field and hit third in all 2 games in this series. And now here in the third. Didn't have a hit in the last game, but did walk and had a sacrifice fly. 1-2, he swings and misses right back into the glove of Spear, and that's the second out of the inning.
The Tynes went right back to that slider. Worked on the pitch before. Why not? Go again. He goes right back, and Ballou swings right through it for out number 2.
Here's Will Rogers, the left fielder from Arizona State. 305 average, 7 runs batted in so far for the Sun Devil. And the Blues, as well as they've handled just about everyone, I feel like they've handled Rogers the best. They've caught him fishing many times on the slider through the first 2 games of this series, and that's the best pitch for Tynes. He starts him off with it, and Rogers bounces it off the plate. No balls and 1 strike. It feels like Rogers just has not been picking up the spin in this series and has seen his average drop nearly 50 points. 0-1, still the runner at second. Patterson, who singled and stole a base, in scoring position with 2 away. 0-1, and Rogers takes the breaking ball on the inside corner, strike 2 call. So a quick 0-2 count on the Sun Devil. Big, strong right-handed hitter, and Tynes has started him off with 2 breakers. Tynes stares in at Spear, comes set. A look back to Patterson at second, who's got a big lead. Patterson dances off. Here's the pitch, and Rogers pokes a ground ball to short on 2 hops. Theo Hardy has it, gallops, throws, and they got him at first. So Caden Tynes responds to the leadoff hit, gets the next 3 batters as we're heading to the second, still 0-0 on the SLO Blues streaming network. Topside at 2 here at Pershing Park. The Blues struck out all 3 times in the first inning, and now it's the cleanup hitter, Matt Spear, to lead things off. Spear, Tollerman, Trimble in this scoreless game. Rubber match of this series between the Blues and the Foresters. The Blues looking for their first series win against Santa Barbara in the last 2 summers. As Zane Petty, the righty, retakes the hill, working from the third base side of the rubber. He looks in at the San Jose State catcher, and the 0-0 pitch. Spear takes the fastball a little bit low, 1 ball and no strikes.
And that's where Petty was last inning. Fastball low in the zone. Tried to go after it there, but just misses for ball 1.
We saw on July 4th, different umpire, but the low fastball was rarely called a strike. As the 1-0, Spear pops it up straight back as the catcher Newman tosses his mask now towards the fencing. He watches it bounce just into the bleachers, literally a foot past the fence. 1 ball and 1 strike. And never see him come down that close, but also out of play.
Yeah, it was right on the fencing.
Almost a miracle it didn't hit the top of the fence or hit anywhere on the fencing. But a 1 ball, 1 strike count on Matt Spear, a 133 average for the Spartan catcher, 1 home run and 1 run batted in. That home run came in his second game, still looking for the power stroke to reemerge, the big, strong left-hander. Petty's 1-1. Spear bounces it off the plate and off his backside, 1 ball and 2 strikes. These 2 teams have split the first 4 games against each other. The first time it was a series split where the Blues lost here but won at home. This time the Blues lost at home. They've won here, and now a rubber match of this series. 1 ball and 2 strikes the count. Petty delivers, and Spear hits a rope to right. Going back is the right fielder, Ballou. He watches it off the bottom of the wall. Spear has to stop after running first. A strong line drive from Spear, and that's the first hit for the Blues.
That's exactly what you got to do to that pitch. Matt Spear does exactly what you need to do. He catches a fastball in the inner half of the zone. The lefty yanks it down the line. He's got a lot of power that way. Ropes it down there for a single. Hopefully he can pass the baton over to Tollerman.
Almost any other yard, that's at least a double, but the fence is so far in here, and Spear hit it so hard that he could only pick up a single bagger. Here's Zach Tollerman, the first baseman from Cuesta College, 190 hitter, 2 runs batted in. As Petty works from the stretch for the first time, he delivers, and Tollerman takes the fastball a little bit low, 1 ball and no strikes. A good spot to miss, but so far the pitchers have just not been getting that call. Spear takes his lead off first, as Petty comes set at the belt, right underneath that white Forester script, as Tollerman takes a fastball. This one's in the zone, 1 ball and 1 strike. The Foresters are wearing the white uniforms. You have the blue and orange F on the front, almost looking like a Cal State Fullerton uniform. Same font for the numbers on the back. The Blues are wearing the navy gray with the Blues gray script across the front. 1-1. Tollerman ropes a ground ball past the third base bag, fair ball. Matt Spear chugging around second. He'll go to third. Rogers picks it up on the backhand. Throws going into second to try and get Tollerman, and no tag applied by Patterson. Back-to-back hits for the Blues. Second and third with nobody out.
I don't want to speak too soon here, but I'm liking the changes I'm seeing right now from the Blues offense. Attacking fastballs and hitting them where they need to be hit. Tollerman catches this one out in front and does his signature bouncer down the line. This one goes for extra bases.
First extra base hit for the Blues. They only had 1 all of last game, and you could say they didn't exactly earn it, where Matt Massiangelo hit a fly ball to right and Ballou lost it. That ended up being a double, but now a chance for the Blues to get on the board first. Here's Justin Trimble, 2 runners in scoring position, nobody out, as Trimble takes a first pitch fastball in there, no balls and 1 strike. And Nate, how many balls did we see go down the third base line in the last game, and not a single one ended up fair? First one we see today, Zach Tollerman places it down the line for a double. Petty working from the stretch, he nods. Corners in, at least Patterson at third, but he's off the line as Trimble takes the breaking ball for a strike this time, quickly 0-2. Trimble an RBI chance. He's knocked in 3 this summer, but hitting just 100. No balls, 2 strikes, nobody out. On deck is Cody Darcy. Petty sets to the belt. The right-hander kicks and fires. Trimble breaks his bat and rolls a ground ball to second. This will bring in a run as Trimble's thrown out at first. Spear comes in to score. It's 1-0 Blues on the RBI ground out from Justin Trimble.
Good job by SLO getting on the board early. Wasn't a base hit, wasn't an extra base hit, but it was a ball put in play on a pitch you got to swing at. It's a giant improvement from the first inning where they couldn't seem to get the bat off their shoulders. Now Blues offense is hacking.
And in an 0-2 count, too, he hacks and picks up an RBI. First time the Blues have been out in front to start a ball game. And now here's Cody Darcy looking to add to the lead. Runner at third, one out, and Darcy way out in front of the breaking ball. No balls and one strike. So Trimble's fourth run batted in as Spear comes in to score the run. Tollerman now at third for Darcy, who's hitting 188 with a run batted in league play. Petty bent at the waist, now comes set with his sign. 0-1 on the way. And Darcy breaks his bat. A ground ball off the glove of the catcher, Petty. Here comes the throw. Tollerman slides, and he is tagged out at home. Nice make-up play by Zane Petty on the mound as the Texas Tech Red Raider picked up the ball off his glove and adjusted to throw out Tollerman at home. So 2 outs, Darcy to first, and the Blues can't add that other run.
Yeah, that's what you got to do with 1 out. You read the down angle on the ground ball, and you're taken off immediately. However, the caveat, you got to make sure it gets past the pitcher. It doesn't right there, and Petty's able to just flip it to home and get the out.
I think Tollerman was hesitant about whether to go. He saw it bounce off of Petty's glove, thought he had a chance, but it didn't roll too far. And Petty with the quick adjustment. Here's Jariah Lewis, the center fielder from San Jose State, who's out in front of the breaking ball, no balls and one strike. Lewis, a 167 hitter so far for the Blues, 2 runs batted in. Blues on the board here first from Pershing Park. It's 1-0 here in the top of the second. Darcy leads off first as Petty comes set. He delivers to Lewis, and Lewis takes off the outside corner, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Petty now working with that slider a little more, starting to catch on that the Blues hitters are seeing the fastball pretty well.
Back-to-back hits to open the inning. A single from Spear off the right field wall. Then Zach Tollerman picks up the double with the grounder down the left field line. He came in to score on the RBI ground out from Trimble as Jariah Lewis fouls this one away, 1 ball and 2 strikes. So all things told, if Petty can get out Lewis here, it's a little bit of a win for Santa Barbara after the way this inning started. Back-to-back hits for the Blues since then. 2 ground outs. 1 brought in a run, 1 didn't. And now time is called. I think the catcher, Newman, just pointed out that Lewis's back foot was out of the box. And Lewis now has to adjust forward a little bit. So nice insight from the catcher from UCSB as Lewis readjusts his stance. Now it's Petty who calls time. Still 1 ball and 2 strikes. Game of chess going on.
As a hitter, I saw a lot of guys do this where they would just completely wipe away the back chalk to avoid that.
1-2. Lewis spoils it foul on a check swing. Still 1 ball and 2 strikes. Darcy's got good speed at the first base bag. 2 for 3 on stolen bases so far in league play. Petty, the Texas Tech righty, looks in at his Gaucho catcher. Glove pinned against the F on his chest. Now he comes set at the belt, kicks and fires, and Lewis down on strikes. So Petty, that's the first strikeout here in the second. He does allow the 1 run as Justin Trimble knocks in Matt Spear with the RBI ground out. We head to the bottom of the second. Blues lead for the first time. It's 1-0 on the SLO Blues streaming network. It's the bottom of the second. Now's a good time to tell you about the California Collegiate League Showcase game coming up next week. Attention California Collegiate League fans, as we continue the celebration of the league's 30th season, watch the CCL 30 Showcase game on Wednesday, July 12th at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Bally Sports TV. The CCL's top players will showcase their talents at the MLB Youth Academy in Compton, California. We're here in the bottom of the second. Blues lead at 1-0. Their first time they've taken the lead in this series first. It's 1-0. San Luis Obispo, and here we're in the bottom half of the second inning. Tynes still on the hill. As John Newman steps to the dish, the catcher takes in the dirt. One ball and no strikes. Showcase game coming up soon, and there's going to be home run derby, the actual game. We're really itching to see who the Blues select to play in that game. 1-0. Newman bounces this one on a couple hops to second. Backing up behind the bag is DiCarlo. His long throw in time for the out. There's one away here in the second.
Tynes doing a good job. That's efficient right there. Just on 2 pitches, able to pick up the first out of the inning. Some more soft contact coming from the right-hander as well.
So the game started with Patterson singling, then stealing a base, but Tynes has retired the next 4 hitters. Here's Rylan Galvan, the first baseman from Texas. 111 average with a home run, 2 runs batted in for the Longhorn. And Galvan way out in front of that slider. No balls and 1 strike. I don't know whether it's the sun or just something's up with the Foresters in this series. They just are not picking up the spin out of the hand of Tynes.
Well, it's hard too. I mean, Tynes also just has a really good slider.
0-1. And Galvan, this time, I think he recognized the spin, but he took it for a strike. 0-2. So quickly, Tynes getting ahead of hitters, and his command has been on point to start this game. No balls, 2 strikes. Blues lead it by 1. As the Cuesta righty comes set, glove held under his chin. He comes home, and a little bit high. Thought he struck him out with that slider, but the call a little bit high. 1 ball and 2 strikes, and I kind of think Galvan caught a break.
Yeah, that was awfully close. I thought he was going to get rung up on that one.
So Tynes still battling. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Looks in at the Texas catcher. He brings it home. And Galvan pops it up. In shallow center, out goes Hardy, in comes Lewis. Who's going to make the catch? It's Lewis who calls off the shortstop from San Jose State. And the 2 Spartans converging. Lewis makes the catch. 2 outs here in the second.
That's a good job by Lewis taking charge over there. That is his ball out there in center field. You always want the guy who's running in, not the guy who's running back to catch the ball. It's a lot harder to run backwards and go get it. And Lewis knew that. That's why he's in center. That's why he's a good center fielder. He calls it off, make the second out.
Here's Jalen Flores, the shortstop from Texas. 150 average for the Longhorn. Standing tall in the back of the right-hand batter's box. He takes the first pitch outside, 1-0. So Caden Tynes has now retired 5 in a row after the leadoff hit from Patterson, who he stranded at second base. Blues scored 1 in the top half of this inning. Back-to-back hits to start the frame before Justin Trimble picked up an RBI on a ground out to second. 1-0. And Flores takes the breaking ball low. 2 balls and no strikes. A win today gives the Blues their first series win in 3 weeks, where they went to sweep the Orange County Riptide in 2 games. And since then, it's been a lot of splits. 1 series loss in non-league play. And the Blues trying to get back to the winning ways as Flores pops this one foul. 2 balls and 1 strike. And I know, Nate, it's, for some players, maybe it's just a collection of games in summer ball, but do you think there is an added bonus to feeling, I guess, the rewarding feeling of getting the series win?
Certainly, there is, and this is a team that's really needed one as they're on their quest to getting back to 500 in league. I think that would feel extra sweet.
2-1. Flores takes way high, 3 balls and 1 strike. You're right, the Blues 6-8 in league play, 4 games back of Santa Barbara. They're 2 games back of third place, which is where Arroyo Seco stands at 10-8. Orange County 11-7. They're 1 game back of Santa Barbara. 3-1 on the way. And Flores takes the breaking ball high and inside. Another tight call, and Flores draws the 2-out walk.
I think we're learning that breaker up in the zone is not going to fly today. So I wanted to see how Tynes adjusts to that, and even Petty.
It seems like the zone isn't limited when it comes to horizontal width, but when it comes to low pitches and high pitches, the zone seems a little bit tighter than we're used to seeing. But something the pitchers will have to deal with. Here's Jake Kendrow, the second baseman from Tennessee. 154 hitter with 3 runs batted in as Flores gets his lead off first. 1-0 game, 2 outs here in the second. First pitch to Kendrow, and the Tennessee righty takes a little bit high. 1 ball and no strikes. Kendrow in the first inning on the 4th of July had a 14-pitch at-bat and drew a walk. After that, though, didn't pick up a hit as the Foresters would go on to lose that game 5-3 to the Blues in the 10th. 1-0. Flores takes off. The pitch is a little bit high. Here's the throw down, and they got him. Flores gunned down by Spear, and just like that, Tynes able to get out of the second. So we're through 2. It's 1-0 on the SLO Blues streaming network, and San Luis Obispo is coming back up. It'll be 9-1-2 in the order. DiCarlo, Blanchett, and Hardy. Top of the third here from Pershing Park. It's 9-1-2 coming up for the Blues with a 1-0 lead. Sam DiCarlo, Giovanni Blanchette, and Theo Hardy due up against Zane Petty, who stays out on the hill. And Nate, the Blues with an early lead. What do they need to do to continue to add?
I think they got to build off what they had going in the second inning, starting off the inning with 2 hits, one of them coming around to score. It's a good way to manufacture runs.
Petty delivers, and DiCarlo takes high with a fastball. 1 ball and no strikes. The UW second baseman hitting .208 so far this summer with a home run and 3 runs batted in. DiCarlo then the top of the order. Blues, you're right, started last inning with back-to-back hits. Brought in the 1 run. But with the way that this series has been played, both teams battle back. Got to continue to add. As DiCarlo swings and hits a line drive over the head of the second baseman. Jumping attempt by Kendro and into right field. DiCarlo, a big turnaround first. He's going to stop there with a leadoff single.
It's good to see the Blues picking up where they left off, and that's a great effort by Kendro. I thought he was going to catch that. He really got up there, but it just sneaks over his glove into shallow right field. That's a great at-bat by Sam DiCarlo, putting up some hard contact to start off the inning.
You can see Kendro motioning to DiCarlo. It was just barely off my glove, and really an amazing attempt by the second baseman from Tennessee, who leapt about as high as I think he can and just couldn't come down with it. So here's Giovanni Blanchette, who struck out looking to start the game. But another runner on for the Blues as Petty has to work from the stretch. He delivers, and Blanchette ropes a ground ball down the left field line, but foul just past the third base bag, 0-1. And we're right back to all those being foul.
I was just going to say, just looking just like yesterday, saw Gio making a face. He knew that was just inches away from staying fair in extra bases.
It looks like the Blues are on the fastball, as you've talked about. Blanchette was early his first time up, eventually took a couple pitches in the zone and struck out looking. Trying to straighten it out. Hit it hard in fair territory. Petty nods, picks to first, and back in there is DiCarlo. DiCarlo has stolen 1 base on 1 attempt so far this summer. So now Petty pins his glove against the Forster's F on his jersey. Now comes set at his belt. Deals, and Blanchette takes the breaking ball inside. 1 ball and 1 strike.
It's a good lead, and I feel like we're going to start seeing that slider a little bit more once the Blues start taking off on that fastball. So it's extra important that they hunt it and they do something with it.
Blanchette, his first start of this series, and he's riding a 5-game hit streak in games that he has started. 1-1. He takes in the dirt, 2 balls and 1 strike. Ever since coming back from his shoulder injury that he suffered in preseason play, Blanchette has been, I think, by far the Blues' strongest hitter when it comes to hitting for average. .350 average in league play, and while the strikeouts have been a minor issue with them representing most of his outs, you can't sleep on how much he's been hitting. 5-game hit streak up to a .350 average coming into this game. 2 balls, 1 strike the count on the right-handed hitting left fielder. Petty comes home. Taking off for second is DiCarlo, and the foul ball goes into the Foresters' dugout. Hits someone in the leg. 2 balls and 2 strikes. DiCarlo got a good jump. We'll see if he runs again. 2 balls, 2 strikes now the count on Giovanni Blanchette with nobody out here in the third. Theo Hardy standing on deck. A 2-2 count on Blanchette as Petty, who's got 4 strikeouts today, pitching in a strikeout spot. He deals, and Blanchette fouls it through the glove of the catcher Newman back to the backstop, so the count stays even 2-2. Little mini battle here. The leadoff hitter Blanchette up for the second time against Zane Petty. Runner at first, nobody out here in the third. The Blues already with a 1-0 lead in the rubber match of this series. Here's the pitch, and Blanchette out in front of the breaking ball. He strikes out for the second straight time, and there's 1 out here in the third.
I think that's the best the slider has looked so far today for Petty. I think that one had the most horizontal break to it. Definitely had the most movement, and unfortunately it was resulted in a second strikeout for Blanchette today.
One of the hard things, Nate, about sitting where we are, we're right down the first base line, is it's hard to see the ball off the bat, but I feel like with right-handed hitters up, we have maybe the best view of seeing their timing. Blanchette way out in front of that breaking ball. Here's Theo Hardy, who struck out looking his first time up, as another pick goes back to first, and DiCarlo dirties up the Navy uniform back in safe. Well, you can see on your screen, Cam Constantine's on deck, and Theo Hardy at the plate, switch hitter batting left-handed. Shortstop 0 for 1 with a strikeout, as Petty looking to do the same thing here in the third. Or roll a double play ball. He delivers in the dirt, and a nice block by Newman, who had to drop down to 1 knee to keep it in front. 1 ball and no strikes. We've seen DiCarlo run before in this inning. Nate, you think there's any chance he runs again?
I'd say there was a larger chance when Blanchette was up, and he did take off. But so much here, I'm not entirely sure.
1-0. DiCarlo doesn't move, and Hardy spoils that one foul. Got a nice hack off, but couldn't keep it fair. 1 ball and 1 strike as the pop-up went over the third base side. Their rationale is because it's a righty and a lefty, because there's nobody out.
Yeah, because there's nobody out, and I think, yeah, righty and lefty as well. But I'd like Hardy right here to put one in the air to avoid the double play, too.
1-1 the count. Petty delivers, and Hardy takes the breaking ball low. 2 balls and 1 strike.
We're seeing more movement on the slider. Saw it again right there. Ended up in the dirt. It's a good spit by Hardy.
Yet to see a third pitch, really, out of the hand of Petty. Seems primarily fastball slider so far, and he's been more breaking ball reliant ever since the Blues have hit the fastball. 2 balls, 1 strike the count on Theo Hardy. DiCarlo takes off. The pitch is high. Here's the throw down from Newman. It's on time, but not on the money as DiCarlo slides down on the back corner of the bag and picks up his second stolen base. Runner in scoring position for the Blues, and a 3-1 count on Theo Hardy.
That slide made that play awfully close. I think if he had a little more evasive slide, it'd be a way easier safe call. He just went straight into second base. Made it a little scary for the Blues dugout, but he's in there safely.
The throw was on the shortstop side of second base, so DiCarlo was able to slide in towards that back corner and got in safe. Now a 3-1 pitch on the way with a runner in scoring position for the Blues. Petty delivers, and Hardy takes a strike on the outside corner. 3 balls and 2 strikes. So now a full count on Theo Hardy, trying to avoid striking out for the second straight time. A hit would bring in a run with DiCarlo's speed and put the Blues on the board 2-0. Although the outfield playing awfully shallow for the Foresters, as they have done primarily so far in this series. Payoff on the way. Hardy strikes out swinging. Petty's 5th K is the second out here, and that's a big strikeout.
Yeah, big strikeout there for Petty. You still got Sam DiCarlo at second base. Cam Constantine getting a shot there, but Hardy got a fastball low in the zone. That's where Petty's been living today, and he just can't quite get a barrel on it.
So with 2 strikes, Petty goes back to the fastball, showing trust in his heater, and he blew it right by Theo Hardy. Here's Cam Constantine, who struck out his first time up. So now both of the Blues' first 2 hitters in the lineup, Blanchette and Hardy, are 0 for 2 with 2 Ks. Constantine doesn't want to join him, trying to knock in a run with DiCarlo at second as he takes the breaking ball high, 1 ball and no strikes. Constantine, 6 foot, 200-pound catcher/outfielder for the Blues, playing right field today. A McKinney, Texas native playing for the Longhorns. A rising redshirt junior.
Expecting a fastball in the zone here.
1-0. It's the breaking ball, and it's in the zone. 1 ball and 1 strike. He got half the equation.
Yeah.
So a 1-1 count on Cam Constantine.
Thinking at bats earlier in the game, he would go back to the fastball, but I think now he's learning more that the Blues are attacking it, so he went with that slider there.
Constantine, a good fastball hitter. One of the better averages on the team. He's also knocked in 5 runs as he swings and laces a line drive right at the third baseman Patterson, who puts his glove up right in the sun and makes the catch. So the Blues get a hit, but they do not score as DiCarlo is stranded at second. We head to the bottom of the third. It's still 1-0 on the SLO Blues streaming network. Home half of the third here at Pershing Park, and the Foresters coming back up. It's still 1-0 Blues, and it'll be 8-9-1 in the order for the Foresters. Kendro, Pace, Patterson due up against Caden Tynes. Tynes got a 1-2-3 inning last inning with help from his catcher Spear, who threw out Flores to end the frame. As Tynes delivers, Kendro takes the breaking ball in the inside corner. Kendro was at the plate when the Texas shortstop Flores was thrown out trying to steal second for the final out. And now a second at bat, but really just a second chance for Kendro, who didn't get to finish his full at bat the first time. 0-1, and the Tennessee second baseman grounds it on one hop to third. Cody Darcy comes up with it on the snare and throws across the diamond in time for out number 1.
Yeah, as we saw on 4th of July, this infield has got some unpredictable hops to it, and luckily this catch is a good hop right over to Darcy. He's just got to stick his glove out, make the easy play over to first.
And he's lucky that he did get a good hop because he was playing it off to his side. It's not exactly an Olay because it was more of a calculated move, but if that had taken any other hop, it would have been harder for Darcy since it wasn't in front of his body. But Blues get the good hop. There's one out here in the third, and now the 9-hole hitter Greg Pace from Michigan comes up. Tynes delivers, and Pace takes high with a fastball. 1 ball and no strikes. The Wolverine center fielder, a .219 average so far this summer, 2 home runs, 6 runs batted in. Blues handled him pretty well in the first game of this series. After a day off, back in the lineup batting 9th again, as Pace takes the breaking ball low to the backstop, 2 balls and no strikes. We were talking with the stats department, too, before the first game, and they said basically every piece of Pace's production, the home runs, the runs batted in, has come within the last week. So Blues handled a hot hitter very well in game 1. 2 out. Pace takes a front door breaking ball on the inside corner. Called strike 1. It's 2-1.
Yeah, and that goes back to what we were talking about the other day. You can never really sit on a fastball and hitter's count in today's game. He gets a 2-0 slider right there.
Not in 2023, that's for sure. 2-1. Tynes backs up the breaking ball with another, and that one catches the zone as well. 2 balls and 2 strikes. No such thing as a fastball count anymore.
No, especially with a guy like Tynes who is really confident in that slider. It's working well.
We'll see if he'll three-peat it. 2 balls, 2 strikes with 1 out. The pitch is another breaking ball, and Pace strikes out swinging. That's the second strikeout for Tynes, and there's 2 away here in the third. He went back to back to back with the slider.
And Pace got huge on that slider, and I think he knew in his head, he goes, I can't get beat on this again. He does getting beat on it, but it's a swing that's way too big, and Tynes is really feeling that slider right now.
Here's Daniel Patterson as the lone hit so far for the Foresters. He singled on the first pitch of the game and stole second. As he takes the first pitch this time, it's another breaking ball. No balls and 1 strike. Patterson has just been such a professional hitter in this series. Batting leadoff all 3 games. I'd say he's made the biggest impression on the Blues so far from the opposing side. As he swings to the breaking ball here, grounds it to third. Darcy plays another good hop, throws across the diamond. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Caden Tynes, who's through 3. 1-0 Blues as we head to the 4th. A third of the way through this ball game, it's 1-0 San Luis Obispo. Rubber match between the Foresters and the Blues, as the Blues trying to come away with their first series win in the past 3 weeks. Here's Matt Spear to lead things off. It's the cleanup hitter, then Zach Tollerman and Justin Trimble. This is a part of the lineup that manufactured the Blues run, as Spear, who singled in his first time up, is behind in the count 0-1 as he's behind on the fastball. Spear hit a rocket off the right field wall, and any other stadium might have been a double. Today, though, just a single with the shorter fences. Eventually came around to score the Blues' first run. 0-1 on the way from Petty, and Spear takes the fastball, called strike 2. Petty showing a little bit more confidence in the fastball this time through the order.
Yeah, so far just challenging Spear on the fastball in the first 2 pitches, already down 0-2.
Petty comes set and comes home, and Spear fouls it away. I think Petty is realizing, playing the mind games, that the Blues have seen first pitch slider the last inning, and so he thought Spear would come up expecting that, so he started him off with a fastball. He's mixing his pitches very well. Only 2 pitches, though. It's harder to do that if you don't have a third or fourth option. So he comes home 0-2. And Spear, did he check his swing? Or no, he went around. Spear down on strikes on the low breaking ball. And just like that, went away here in the 4th.
Not sure if he went. I think he held up, but yeah, just like on cue you said, Jack, Petty mixing very well. Went back to that slider in the dirt. Spear went after it.
Well, it doesn't even matter if he only has 2 pitches. He's got 7 strikeouts now with just 1 out in the 4th, which means 10 of his outs, or 10 outs and 7 of them strikeouts. Here's Zach Tollerman, who doubled down the left field line in his first at-bat, and he gets the first pitch breaking ball, takes it for strike 1. Always really impressed with the pitchers that only throw the 2 pitches but can work them seamlessly. And Petty's had good command of both options today. So he comes set from the wind-up, kicks and deals, and Tollerman takes a breaking ball a little outside, 1 ball and 1 strike.
It's a good leave. Similar action from the pitch he saw prior. Started Spear off with 2 fastballs, goes 2 sliders here to Tollerman.
Mixing and matching, trying to keep the deficit just 1 run. 1-0 Blues here in the 4th. As Petty sets under his chin, now brings it home. Tollerman takes the fastball inside, 2 balls and 1 strike. No walks yet for Zane Petty. He's been relatively around the zone. He has given up, though, the 3 hits and the ground out to Trimble that brought in a run as the Blues had second and third with nobody out. 2-1 on the way, and Tollerman lines the fastball straight back, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
He's humming that in there. That fastball almost gaining velocity within this inning.
It has a lot of ride. It's not straight in the normal way you talk about where it doesn't move horizontally, but it stays on the same plane as it comes in towards the zone.
Hissing as it comes into home.
2 balls, 2 strikes. And he misses a little bit high with the breaking ball, 3 balls and 2 strikes. So full count to Zach Tollerman with Justin Trimble on deck and Newman, the very vocal catcher, shouting out words of affirmation to his right-hander. As Petty, the Texas Tech Red Raider, nods for his sign, comes set. Now he fires it home. And Tollerman bounces it on the ground to short. In comes Flores, who plays the short hop, throws across the diamond in time for the out. Tollerman's retired. There's 2 away.
And he went back up the ladder. Petty did with that fastball up in the zone. Once again hissing towards the bat of Tollerman. He kind of has to fight it off and dribbles it over to short for the second out.
Here's Justin Trimble, who picked up a run batted in his first plate appearance. Grounded out to second, but a very productive at-bat and something that the Blues want to see more from him and most of the lineup is when you come up with runners in scoring position less than 2 outs, you don't need to hit, but find a way to bring him in. And Trimble did just that to give the Blues the lead. Here his second time up against Petty. The right-hander deals, and Trimble takes a fastball out. 1 ball and no strikes.
He's got a new piece of lumber, too. The bomb bat. Indestructible.
Indestructible. Nice. Well, the Blues had an inning a couple innings ago where they broke 2 bats in 1 frame. That was the inning, though, that they still picked up the run. Trimble, one of the ones with the broken bat, but he flies this one to center. Over moves pace. In comes the right fielder, Ballou, and it's Ballou who will make the catch in the right center field gap for the out. So the Blues go 1-2-3. They still lead it, though, 1-0. We'll be right back on the SLO Blues streaming network. The Foresters have yet to lose a series in CCL play so far this year, but they trail the Blues here 1-0 in the bottom of the fourth. Rubber match between these two teams, Nate, the Revolutionary War Series. 3rd of July, 4th of July here on the 6th. Winner take all game 3 as Caden Tynes looks in at Cody. He looks in at Ryan Black and deals a fastball to the left-hander from UT Arlington. No balls and 1 strike. So this is the Revolutionary War. Then Game 2 win for the Blues, a comeback victory, the Battle at Saratoga. 1-0, and Black dribbles it foul. 1 ball and 1 strike.
So that would make this Lexington and Concord, right? Is that what came after that?
Battle of Yorktown?
Yeah.
If the Blues win it.
Yeah, that's right. I'm not a history major. You got to talk to Jason Hansen about that one.
I will. Caden Tynes looking in at Ryan Black, who popped out to short his first time up, and the righty deals. Black takes outside, 2 balls and 1 strike. Tynes has been working with the slider to that long stretch of right-handed hitters, and now Black, one of 2 left-handed hitters in the lineup. We'll see what Tynes does differently with the lefty at the plate. As he deals, Black takes the breaking ball, strike 3 called. In a 1-2 count, he spins the breaker, and there's 1 away on Tynes' 3rd strikeout of the game.
It's the same old story as we head into the 4th. It's that slider, and the Foresters just can't seem to figure it out.
I guess the answer to a left-handed hitter and what Tynes is going to do differently is you throw the slider, but you backdoor it on the outside corner, and he spotted it up perfectly. Here's Max Ballou, the other lefty, who struck out swinging back in the 1st. Tynes with 1 out here in the 4th inning, kicks and deals, and that fastball is outside. 1 ball and no strikes. Tynes comes set, looking in at the Texas right fielder. Delivers, and Ballou takes that backdoor breaking ball in there for a strike. We mentioned earlier that Tynes has really nice last 2 bullpen outings. If you combine that with the start today, he's now thrown in his last 10 1/3, just 6 hits, 1 earned run, and 14 strikeouts. 1-1. Cuesta righty spots up with a fastball, 1 ball and 2 strikes, and he has answered every call that Dean Traynor has made to him across his last couple outings.
Yeah, he's now mixing very well here, coming at Ballou with that fastball.
Blues have handled Ballou well, but he's still a dangerous hitter. The 1-2, it's a high breaking ball, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
It's kind of the first time we've seen him miss on that slider. Missing up in the zone there.
So 2-2 the count now as the Foresters looking to tie this game up. 1-0 here in the 4th. Every batter that comes up, the tying run. 2-2. Ballou bounces it short to first. Tollerman comes off the bag, and now he's going to take it himself. Steps on the pillow just before Ballou for the 2nd out of the inning.
I think going back to what you're saying about Tynes answering the bell, that's also something that the Blues have needed. They need that grit, and to have it personified on the mound today and the performance that Tynes is having and his ability to work in multiple situations and be kind of a Swiss Army knife, I think is also inspiring for the Blues team as a whole, who's on a mission for more grit.
The entire Blues pitching staff, outside of the one game against the Pirates where we saw them use a good amount of high school arms, everyone has just been amazing recently as Will Rogers is, again, way out in front of that slider and now takes a little walk with himself. You had Matthew Gonzalez in Game 1 of this series step up from closer to starter, and he dealt. A.J. Moreno and Marcelo Saldana have been fantastic out of the pen. And not to mention, in the 2 games against the Barons, the Blues got 16 2/3 out of their starters as Rogers, again, way out in front, 0-2.
And that's something funny. You don't characteristically see that in summer ball teams. Typically, it's the hitting that dominates and the pitching not so much, but it's a total flipped effect here in San Luis Obispo.
Tynes a strike away from getting out of the 4th, and he's dealt nothing but off-speed to Will Rogers, who has not seen the spin. High fastball target from Spear, and the fastball called strike 3 on the outside corner. He put it right past Rogers for strikeout number 4. Through 4 innings of this game, it's 1-0 as the Blues continue to stifle the Foresters. We'll be right back with Cody Darcy, Jariah Lewis, Sam DiCarlo coming up on the SLO Blues streaming network. Top of the fifth here from Pershing Park as the sun continues to set out and left. The Blues bring up the bottom third of the order with a 1-0 lead, starting with Cody Darcy, the third baseman from Arkansas State, who grounded into a fielder's choice on a play at the plate his last time up, and he takes high with a fastball. 1 ball and no strikes. Caden Tynes has been electric through 4, and a big reason why the Blues are out in front 1-0. Pitching just continues to dominate this series on both sides. As Petty, the right-hander for the Santa Barbara, deals, and Darcy takes the breaking ball low. Petty, through the first 4 innings, 7 strikeouts.
Yeah, and my next point was going to be, when you're talking about Caden Tynes there, the next move forward for the Blues' success is the hitting to follow the pitching. Still looking for that.
2-0. Darcy takes a fastball on the outside corner. The pitching for San Luis Obispo has been excellent for over a week now. They've allowed just 13 earned runs in the last 6 games, dropping their CCL team ERA to 3.84. As Darcy behind on the fastball, 2-1, so the count moves to 2-2. The Foresters, as we know, are a pitching team as well. Entered the series with a 2.12 team ERA. They've lost a game, they've won a game, and they've dropped the team ERA down at 1.95.
That's what we've seen in our series against them. Not a lot of runs happening.
2-2. Darcy strikes out swinging. 8 Ks for Zane Petty. And Nate, as we saw the first 2 games of this series, I think you're right. Runs are going to continue to be at a premium.
And Darcy there just kind of gets blown by on the fastball. Not only that, but his hat got a little too large. I feel like he's a guy who usually stays consistent with his swing. He's got a pretty good barrel path, but he just got way big and tried to unload on that fastball. Swings right through it.
Here's Jariah Lewis, who struck out in his first time up. 1 out here in the top of the 5th. And Lewis swings and lifts it foul. No balls and 1 strike. And Petty, he's a guy that will strike out some dudes. Came into this game 11 and 9 innings, but look back to his final season at Corsicana High School in Texas. 147 strikeouts and 88 and a third.
Wow.
And an 0-1 incoming to Lewis. Lewis takes the breaking ball on the inside corner. And he's not just one of those guys that'll strike out guys but give up a lot of runs. 12 earned runs allowed in 88 and a third.
Wow. That's dominance.
Big reason he was drafted in the 13th round of the 2022 draft by the Brewers, but ended up heading to Texas Tech, pitching here for the Foresters this summer. 0-2 on the way, and Lewis takes the fastball low. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Newman with that frame attempt right there. Almost got it.
But Petty, an MLB draft caliber arm coming out of high school, and he's blown away the Blues so far, but they've gotten on the board with the 1 run. Petty sets, comes home 1-2. Lewis cracks a line drive into right field, and it falls in front of the right fielder, Blue, base hit. So Lewis picks up his first hit. That's the Blues' 4th, and there's a runner aboard with 1 out here in the 5th inning.
It's one of the best sounds on the planet, isn't it? Just a barreled-up baseball. And this is just a simple stroke from Lewis into shallow right field. Another base runner aboard, and a good one at that, as the guy's got some wheels.
Lewis is 7 for 9 on stolen base attempts so far this summer. And he'll get his good leads off first. Always gets a good jump. We'll see if the Blues send him with Sam DiCarlo at the plate. DiCarlo singled in his first at-bat. He's got one of the Blues' 4 hits. Lewis gets his lead off first. Petty works again from the stretch. Lewis faked as if he was taking off, then returned back. And that slider's a little inside. 1 ball and no strikes.
Trying to get in the mind of Petty. Trying to get him to think about him. Lewis can just challenge him, and I think he'd win that battle with the wheels he's got over at first.
Blues have a stolen base today. It was DiCarlo as he swings and pops this one up straight back. Newman will watch it back over the fencing. 1 ball and 1 strike. The Blues 1 for 1 on stolen bases today, and maybe the fastest runner in the lineup at first with 1 out here in the 5th.
If I'm DiCarlo, too, he's been in front of that fastball, and I think I'd rather be in front than behind on Petty here, because a lot of hitters have been very behind on him. It just shows me that DiCarlo's ready for it.
Pick to first. Lewis has to dive back, and he's back in there. So the count's still 1-1. The problem is with Petty, when he senses you getting ahead of the fastball, that's when he spins the slider in there, and you're way too out in front. Really nice speed differential between the fastball and the breaking ball as Lewis, another big lead. Another pick back, and the center fielder's back in just barely under the tag of Galvan, and Lewis stays at first. That was a closer play.
Very close.
Lewis has to be careful. Petty's got a good move. Don't want to get picked off in this scenario with how important base runners and runs are between these two teams. Lewis takes off for second. The pitch in the dirt, and Newman drops it. Jariah Lewis slides in, but he didn't have to. It's a stolen base, his 8th of the summer, and he puts himself in scoring position with 1 out in the 5th.
That was a really good jump by Jariah Lewis. So much confidence in planting that first foot down. You just got to go. That's exactly what he did.
The slider was near the dirt, and Newman, who tried to catch it before it hit the ground behind home plate, couldn't complete the catch. So Lewis takes off now for third, and DiCarlo hits it on the ground to short, bobbled by Flores, who gets up, throws. DiCarlo is out at first. Lewis trying to score, and an aggressive tag from Newman. They got him. And out on the bases, and a double play for the Foresters as Jariah Lewis gets a little too aggressive, and Petty is able to get out of the 5th. We head to the bottom half of the frame. It's still 1-0 on the SLO Blues streaming network. John Newman to lead things off in the bottom of the 5th. It's Newman, Galvan, and Flores due up for the Foresters against Tynes. A 1-0 ball game in the rubber match of this series. As Tynes, who's worked 4 scoreless, deals a breaking ball a little off the plate. 1 ball and no strikes. Tynes, 4 strikeouts across the 4 innings. Only allowed 1 hit, and that was to lead off the game by Patterson. He got Newman to ground out to second to start the 2nd inning his first time up. 1-0 on the way. And Newman, who thought about taking a mighty hack at that breaking ball, leaves it in the zone. 1 ball and 1 strike.
That's what the slider's been doing today to the Forester hitters. Uncertainty.
Better to be uncertain and not swing when there's no strikes than be uncertain and swing and roll it over.
True.
1-1. Newman gets the breaking ball again, rolls it over foul. 1 ball and 2 strikes on the catcher from UCSB, who tagged out Jariah Lewis trying to come to the plate on a fielder's choice double play to end last inning, as Lewis got aggressive on the base paths and couldn't make it into score. Newman's made a couple of nice but aggressive tags at the plate in this game. Behind the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes as Caden Tynes takes a deep breath, delivers, and Newman flies it into center. Well hit, but not hit well enough as Jariah Lewis breaks back, now comes in a little bit, and makes the one-handed catch for the first out. The first time, really, that we have seen one of the Foresters put it into the outfield. In fact, that's really the only fly ball they've hit. There's been a pop out to short and a pop out to shallow center. But now they're trying to elevate a little bit more against Caden Tynes. 1 out, though, in the 5th, and here's Rylan Galvan. Galvan hit the pop up to shallow center. Really, it was more like deep short, and Jariah Lewis came in to catch it. Oh, well, and Galvan bounces it foul towards his own dugout. 1 ball and no balls and 1 strike. Tynes comes set at the belt, staring in at his catcher, Spear. With the Texas first baseman up, and Galvan rolls the breaking ball foul again. No balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, really out in front on that slider.
And from Tynes, just like his counterpart on the hill, Zane Petty, we're really only seeing the fastball and the slider. The 2 two-pitch pitchers who have been dealing in today's game.
Yeah, and Tynes got that changeup in the arsenal. We've only seen it 1 or 2 times, though.
1-2 on the way. He struck him out. Fastball right on the inside corner, leaves Galvan with the bat hanging on his shoulder, and there's 2 away.
He clips it right on the black. I believe that was actually the slider, and that ties up Galvan for the second out. And man, I can't say this enough. He's really just feeling the slider. He doesn't even really need to go to the changeup.
It was 3 sliders back to back to back to Galvan for the out. Here's Jalen Flores, who walked and was thrown out trying to steal second back in the second inning. And what do you know? It's the breaking ball. No balls and 1 strike.
Why not?
Forsters may not see another fastball for the rest of the game.
No.
They just haven't hit a breaking ball really all series, at least so far. 0-1. It's another breaking ball, and he's out in front. No balls and 2 strikes. And I said it as a joke, and it might actually be true.
No, really. I mean, he's just going to keep coming at him with that slider until they can hit it hard and play.
As long as he doesn't hang it. He's been commanding it well. No balls, 2 strikes. Spear sets up outside. The pitch is another breaking ball. This one a little bit more elevated, and Flores taps it foul. Still no balls and 2 strikes. So Tynes not messing around. He's just going right after these Foresters hitters, trying to complete his 5th inning. Still no runs allowed for Santa Barbara. 0-2 the count. He deals. Flores takes a little bit low. That one had a little bit more bite downwards than the sliders that we've seen moving horizontally, and Flores took it low.
One thing I'll say, too, about how Tynes is attacking, you'll notice if he gets people to swing on the first 2 pitches that are sliders and they'll miss him for strikes, he'll come at with the fastball.
1-2. It's another breaking ball, and this time Flores spears it foul on more of a line. Still 1 ball and 2 strikes. You just continue to go back to the breaking ball, or is there any shred of thought about throwing a fastball?
I'm going back to the breaking ball again here. Yep.
Trying to place it perfectly. 1 ball and 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the 5th. He delivers. Flores strikes out swinging. Yet another strikeout for Tynes on the breaking ball. He's through 5 scoreless with 6 strikeouts as we head to the 6th. It's 1-0 on the SLO Blues streaming network. Through 5, it's still 1-0 Blues as pitching continues to dominate this series, and the Blues bring the top of the order up for the 3rd time. It's Giovanni Blanchette, then Theo Hardy, Cam Constantine. Blanchette and Hardy have both struck out in their first 2 plate appearances, trying to figure out the arsenal from Petty, who's given up just the 1 run and has picked up a myriad of strikeouts through his first 5 frames. He deals again to Blanchette, and Gio pops it foul off the fencing. No balls and 1 strike. So far in the game for Petty, he's got 8 strikeouts through 5 innings. 4 hits allowed. The 1 run came across the score in the 2nd when the Blues had back-to-back base hits, then the RBI ground out. 0-1, and Blanchette out in front of the breaker. No balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, good sequencing, picking up where he left off for Petty. Blanchette in a familiar spot, got a bow with 2 strikes.
And Blanchette's got to be wondering, why me? Petty's missed to other people, but he's just been all in the strike zone against Blanchette. As the 0-2 and a swing and a miss. Blanchette down on strikes for the 3rd time as the catcher Newman straightens up, throws him out at first on the drop 3rd strike, and there's 1 away here in the 6th.
Yeah, you're right, Jack. He does seem to be hitting his spots the most with Blanchette. Falls down on strikes for the 3rd time today.
No, it's like we kind of see the baton pass sometimes where the Blues will have an unlucky hitter that it feels like every time they come up, it's 0-2, and it's not exactly a fault of their own. It's just they're seeing the best pitches from the starter. As here's Theo Hardy, who has also struck out his first 2 plate appearances. 9 strikeouts now for the righty, Zane Petty. Hardy, the switch hitter, batting left-handed, steps into the back of the left-hand batter's box. Petty delivers, and Hardy takes on the outside corner. No balls and 1 strike. But the sun, I have no idea whether that was called a ball or a strike.
Even see him make a motion.
0-1, we think. That's Petty from the windup. Strides and shoots. Hardy takes on the bottom of the zone. See if we get some fingers up here to tell us what the count is. As there's some chirping coming from the Blues dugout. Not appreciative of that call. I think 0-2 on Theo Hardy. Petty comes home. Hardy takes outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes for the moment.
And that fastball alone, the zone, we've been talking about it in the game. It's hasn't been a spot where they've been calling it, but Petty gets a call right there, or 2 pitches ago.
I think it's 2-1. I think that's the call we just got. 2 balls, 1 strikes, the offering, and Hardy lines it into right center field, base hit. In comes the center fielder Pace. He cuts it off before it gets to the gap. Hardy a big turnaround first, but he stops there with a 1-out single.
So some improvements in the SLO Blues offense. What I'm seeing right now is more hard contact. Another loud barrel coming out of Theo Hardy from the left side of the batter's box, just for a nice single.
And he waited. I think he thought he was getting the breaking ball. He did, and he waited on it low in the zone and golfed it out into right field over the head of the second baseman, Kendro. So Hardy breaks the streak of his strikeouts, picks up his first hit. He's now 1 for 3. Here's Cam Constantine, who's 0 for 2, with a strikeout and a line out to third. The right-hander from Texas steps in the box. 1-0 Blues lead here in the 6th. As Petty works from the stretch, he delivers, and Constantine bounces it foul towards the Foresters' dugout. No balls and 1 strike.
Got Hardy 4 for 5 on steals on the year so far in conference play. Wonder if he's going to take off for second here on Constantine.
Blues have successfully stolen 2 bags already on Newman today. Hardy, you mentioned good speed. Could try and put himself in scoring position with just 1 out. The pitch to Constantine is low. Back pick from Newman. Hardy dives back in safe. Another close play. Nice tag by Galvan. 1-1 the count with Hardy back to the first base bag.
Yeah, good job getting back to first and good effort diving head first. Sometimes you'll see on the back picks that people won't dive or slide back in the first. I never understood that, so good on Hardy.
Dirtying up the Navy uniform, but that's the way he plays. A lot of shortstops do that. 1-1. Constantine checks his swing at the breaking ball. Did he go? No, he did not. 2 balls and 1 strike. Is Constantine able to hold up on the low slider?
It's a good lead. This is a slider that started in the zone and broke out of it. It looked like it was going to be a strike all the way in until the last second. It's a good leave by Cam.
2-1 the count. Constantine looking for his first hit. The Blues have 5 on the game against Petty. Just 1 so far for SB. Top 6, 1 out runner at first. The pitch from Petty. Constantine flies it foul down the first base line. Chasing it to the fencing is Galvan, but he stops there. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I feel like Constantine's really close to grooving into one. We saw in his last step out, it was a really hard line drive, but it was right to third base. I feel like he's just centimeters away from really getting into one.
2-2 the count on the strong Texas right-handed right fielder. Left field line way open if he can get out ahead of that fastball. Petty delivers. Constantine down on strikes. Strikeout number 10 for Zane Petty here in the 6th, and there are 2 away.
Yeah, this is just a really well-placed fastball. Outer black. Constantine tries to go after it, but that's just really good placement there by Petty.
Here's Matt Spear, who struck out his last time up, but he scored the lone run in this game. Singled to start the second off the wall and came around to score after Tollerman doubled and Trimble knocked him in with an RBI groundout. The left-handed hitting catcher from San Jose State has the power to really make this a full different ball game. Trying to make solid contact as Hardy is not picked off first, just barely gets back in. Another nice move from Petty. And the San Jose State shortstop just barely slides back into the bag.
Yeah, making it awfully close over there at first.
I thought they got him.
Yeah.
Hardy was leaning slightly towards second. Maybe tells you the thought process here. He might try and steal. Another big lead for Hardy as Petty comes home. Spear takes a fastball for a strike, 0-1.
We've talked about the tips off camera about if a guy's going to steal a base, the wiggling fingers, the leaning over to second base. the tip-tapping feet. I feel like Hardy does that anyway.
He does everything.
Even when he doesn't steal.
Now he leans, doesn't go, and Spear takes a fastball off the plate 1-1. We were witnesses to a conversation where Bill Pintard, manager of the Foresters, came over, and he was saying about Nin Burns that the Foresters had picked up that Burns was going to steal in that first game. They figured out his tell. So it's clearly something Santa Barbara's looking at with the base runners as another pick back. This time Hardy in a little bit more safe. 1 ball and 1 strike. But really interesting. You know, sometimes those are the things you don't think teams are thinking about, but in reality, they've got guys that are focusing on the little details. 1-1, and Spear takes low. Another back pick from Newman. This time no slide from Hardy, but he's still in. The count 2 balls and 1 strike.
We talked about, like, you know, if he's going to read those tips, and Hardy's a guy who just kind of does that anyway, it makes sense that they're picking off to him as much as they are. And, of course, he's an important run, but still.
2-1. Spear takes outside, 3 balls and 1 strike. A walk would be big here. It would put a runner in scoring position for Zach Tollerman, who's 1 for 2 with an extra base hit. A 1-run lead never feels safe against the Foresters, but the Blues have been pitching well. They'd love to find a way to get on top by more than just 1. 3 balls and 1 strike the count. Hardy takes off. The pitch is in the zone. The throw down to get Hardy is into center field, and the shortstop from San Jose State steps up. He's running. Pace, the center fielder from Michigan, throws, and Hardy's safe at third. As the count moves full, Hardy moves 180 feet, and he's at third with 2 outs. Now the throw gets away from the pitcher, Petty, and Hardy not moving off the third base bag. Aggressive base running from the Blues, and it pays off this time. Hardy's at third.
Hardy leaning on Coach Steve down there at third base.
A little tired.
Gassed, yeah.
I didn't think he was going to get up and try and go to third, and he just got in there in front of the pace throw. Now, runner at third, 2 outs, a full count on the batter, Matt Spear. An insurance run 90 feet away. Petty comes home, and Spear golfs it into center. In comes Pace. Now he backs up. It was smacked by Spear, but it's out number 3 as the center fielder collects it for the 3rd out. We're heading to the bottom of the 6th. It is 1-0 still on the SLO Blues streaming network. Coming to the plate for the Foresters, who trail at 1-0 here at Pershing Park. Caden Tynes has been remarkable through his first 5 innings of work. He's back out there for the 6th, and he looks in at Kendro, the second baseman from Tennessee, and deals a breaking ball on the inside corner. Same story for Tynes here in the 6th. He's ahead in the count, no balls and 1 strike. Sun is completely glaring out in deep left field, making it near impossible to see for anyone here in the stands, maybe even at the plate, as Kendro takes the breaking ball low, 1-1. Just anxiously waiting for that sun to get behind the mountains there and left.
You know, there's a hill out there down the left field line. I thought the sun was going to go behind that, but it's not. It's scraping it.
Nearing 7:30 p.m. This game's gone quick so far. Bottom of the 6th here at Pershing Park in a 1-0 game. Tynes delivers, and Kendro takes low. 2 balls and 1 strike, and now Tynes in a situation we have not really seen him in all game. He's behind a hitter. He's walked just the 1. That was Flores back in the 2nd. 1 hit, the first batter of the game. There's 2 base runners so far for the Foresters as Tynes comes home, and Kendro swings and bounces it foul off someone in his own dugout. 2-2. Watch out.
Dugout's getting abused over there by their own hitters.
Well, they call it an ugly finder. I don't know what baseball gods are trying to say about the Foresters. There hasn't been one that's gone into the Blues dugout.
No.
So Blues should feel pretty good about baseball gods think about their attractiveness. 2-2. Kendro bounces it off the plate foul. Still 2-2. You ever get hit with a ball in the dugout?
No, I'm too handsome.
Oh. And now the ball boy takes a spill.
Oh, wow.
He lost.
What do we call that?
I don't know. I'm not going to make up the term for that. I don't want to get in trouble. He seems to be okay. A little bit of fun going on here at Pershing Park. Relieving a little bit of the tension that's been in this ball game and in this series. First 2 games went to extras. Road team won both. The Foresters won in 10 the first game. Blues won in 10 on the 4th. Another close game. 2-2 on the way. Kendro strikes out swinging. Another strikeout for Tynes. That's 7 on the day, and there's 1 out here in the 7th.
The story continues. How many times have you heard me say that? It's the slider. It's not in the zone. Kendro fishes after it. It's a big old swing. Started in the zone, but as we've talked about, got a lot of horizontal break on it. Ends up out of the zone for out number 1.
Here's Greg Pace, the center fielder from Michigan, who struck out in his first at-bat. Just the 2nd plate appearance for Pace. We're here in the 6th as Tynes delivers, and Pace skies it on the infield near first. Sam DiCarlo calls off Zach Tollerman, and the second baseman from Washington secures the catch with 1 hand. 1 pitch, 1 out on Pace, and there's 2 away.
Good communication over there by the Husky. See him dapping up Zach Tollerman over there at first base. Good job.
The Blues have something to bond over. It's been the pitching in this series. Just the 1 run for SLO, but Tynes has been even better for the Blues. Here he looks at the top of the order, Daniel Patterson, who is singled and grounded out, and he lifts this one to shallow center. Out goes DiCarlo, who calls for it, and he makes the catch. So Tynes, 2 pitches for the final 2 outs, and he has completely stifled the Foresters through 6 innings. We head to the 7th. It is still 1-0. A close game yet again between the Blues and Foresters. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on the SLO Blues streaming network. New arm into the game for the Santa Barbara Foresters, which means Zane Petty is done after 6, and it's the hard-throwing right-hander Carson Turnquist from Oklahoma who's into this game. A .71 earned run average for the 6'5" right-hander across 12 2/3 with 15 strikeouts so far in the Foresters season. Turnquist threw in game 1 of this series. He's the hardest thrower the Foresters have. Threw at 94 miles an hour in the first game between these two teams, and he's here in a 1-0 game in the 7th.
Yeah, but he's a local kid from Paso Robles. But big challenge here for San Luis Obispo, especially since they want to add on some more insurance.
Through 5 innings as a freshman for Oklahoma after being a top 50 pitcher in the nation according to Perfect Game. He'll face Zach Tollerman, Justin Trimble, Cody Darcy here in the 7th. 1-0 Blues lead as Turnquist comes home. Tollerman takes the paralysis fastball on the outside corner, no balls and 1 strike. And it's all going to be about trying to catch up to the heater if you're the Blues. Turnquist stares in at Newman, now comes set. 0-1 the count on Tollerman. Turnquist delivers. Tollerman takes another fastball on the outside corner, 0-2. Could have been a breaking ball, but perfectly placed on the outside corner and a quick 0-2 count on the Blues first baseman.
Yeah, I think it was a slider there. Don't sleep on that.
Turnquist set at the belt, comes home. Tollerman pops it up, straight back and foul as Newman watches it over the fence. Still 0-2 the count. A 94-mile-an-hour fastball and a slider that he can place perfectly on the outer half. Going to be a challenge for the Blues, who are trying to add some insurance. Just a 1-0 lead. Never really feels safe against Santa Barbara. Turnquist comes set, comes home, and Tollerman down on strikes. That's the slider, and it was dirty. 1 out here in the 7th inning.
Yeah, like I said, you better not sleep on that. And look, when you see a guy that's throwing that hard as well, you can sit on the fastball because the velocity is coming in so hot and you're sitting on it so heavily. It's easier to adjust to the breaking ball like that. If you're expecting heat, you can just ride that back hip longer and be ready for that breaking ball. But still, Jack, it's very hard to hit.
Yeah, easier said than done.
Yeah.
I don't want to get in the box against 94 with a slider like that. 1 out here in the 7th. The batter's Justin Trimble, who knocked in a run in the 2nd with an RBI ground out. And here he takes a strike 0-1. So 5 straight strikes from Turnquist. Second batter of the inning. Trimble is 0 for 2 with a ground out to second and a fly out to right. 0-1 offering, and Trimble takes strike 2 called. Turnquist continues to fill up the zone, and it's 0-2 the count.
Yeah, quickly down on strikes again is Trimble, 0-2. By the way, this high school matchup, Ocean League versus Mountain League. Paso Robles and Arroyo Grande.
0-2. And Trimble down on strikes. It pops out of the glove of Newman, who just pops up and tags out Justin Trimble. 2 straight strikeouts for Carson Turnquist, and there's 2 away in the 7th inning.
And it was an identical sequence. Trying to blow him away with the 2 fastballs, wipe him away with the slider. If I'm Cody Darcy, I'm taking a look at that. I'm going to be ready for the fastball here.
The Blues have now struck out 12 times through 6 2/3. Here's Darcy, who struck out his last time up after grounding into a fielder's choice play at the plate in the 2nd inning. Darcy 0 for 2, and he swings at a first pitch fastball way behind it. 0-1, and Turnquist has thrown nothing but strikes.
Yeah, and Darcy, I think, was actually anticipating that fastball. That one not for a strike. He took a hack at it.
Turnquist, a long hold, 0-1 on the way, and Darcy takes the first ball. It's in the dirt, 1 ball and 1 strike. Darcy came into this game hitting .188 with a run batted in. The 5th-year senior from Arkansas State. Bright sun in left, a 1-1 pitch. After the long hold, on the way. And Darcy leaves it outside, 2 balls and 1 strike. It's all about, I think, Nate, the way this game's coming down to, all about the pitching.
Yep.
If the Blues can keep a 0 on the board, mathematically they'll win this game, but it's becoming more apparent. It's going to be harder for them to add 1 run. How good these Santa Barbara arms are, 1 run might have to be enough. As Darcy swings at the fastball, he's late again, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And once again, that's been the theme all series between these two teams. It's come down to the arms.
Blues trying to continue to throw up zeros. First trying to hit against Turnquist. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The righty deals, and Darcy pops it foul. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2 strikeouts to start this inning for Carson Turnquist. Here running into a little bit more of a battle with Cody Darcy, trying to reach for Jariah Lewis, who stands on deck after his single his last time up. 2-2 pitch. Here it comes. Darcy leaves the breaking ball outside, 3-2 the count. A full count with 2 outs here in the 7th. Both games in this series so far have gone to extra innings. 2 10-inning affairs. Today the rubber match seemingly potentially on that way. 3-2 pitch. Here it is. Darcy takes high and draws the walk. So Turnquist, after throwing so many strikes to the first 2 batters, loses Darcy to the base on balls, and Jariah Lewis will come up with a runner on.
And you're getting a guy that throws that hard. Another high-effort guy there in Turnquist. It's good to get him to throw a lot of pitches because then the command starts to go, and then eventually the velocity starts to go. So it's good that Darcy saw a lot of pitches out of the right-hander.
Darcy's 2 for 3 on stolen base attempts this summer. Leads off first, but it's hard to steal on a guy that throws this hard. Blues do have 3 stolen bases today, though, as Lewis taps it straight back into the glove of Newman, 0-1. Newman just hasn't thrown out any Blues runners today. Blues are 3 for 3 on their stolen base attempts.
They're making him work back there.
Turnquist works from the stretch. Pins his glove just underneath his left shoulder as he stares for his sign. Now comes set. A quick glance to Darcy at first, and the 0-1 pitch. It's a pitch out. Ball 1. Darcy wasn't running. 1 ball and 1 strike.
You got to imagine it's pretty hard for Lewis to see the ball right now, too. Probably just looks really fuzzy with that sun coming down right about eye level for left-handed hitters.
Just trying to focus on the pitcher and the ball coming in. Probably just trying to pull down his helmet as far as he can. 1-1. Lewis takes a fastball in the inside corner. Perfectly placed just past the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, that's a spotted-up fastball right there to Jariah Lewis.
So a 1-2 count. Cody Darcy still with his lead at first. Turnquist hasn't forgotten about the runner. He shakes his sign here. Now comes set. Glove held just above his blue belt as he kicks and deals. Lewis takes strike 3 call. So Turnquist strikes out the side and works around the 2-out walk. We'll head to the bottom of the 7th. Still 1-0 on the SLO Blues streaming network.
Strikeouts at Foresters home games are sponsored.
Bottom 7, still 1-0 Blues as Caden Tynes out for his 7th inning of work. He's allowed just 1 hit so far. That was to the leadoff hitter Daniel Patterson to start the game. Since then, just 1 other base runner, a walk in the 2nd. He has retired 12 in a row, and here he deals to Ryan Black, who swings at the first pitch, bounces it towards third. In comes Darcy, a bare hand play and the long throw. Tullerman can't apply the tag, and that's a base hit for Ryan Black. A base runner aboard here in the 7th for Santa Barbara.
That's a good effort there by Cody Darcy on the barehanded play. It's a guy who can make that play. The throw just goes a little wide, and Tullerman, tall kid, couldn't quite corral it in with his foot on the bag, and Black's aboard.
Not hit well at all, but that's the 2nd hit for the Foresters. Tying run is on base here in the 7th. And we don't know exactly what the bullpen plan is for the Blues. I think they're trying to ride out Caden Tynes' success for as long as they can. Here's Max Ballou, who has struck out and grounded out to first. Tullerman holds on Ryan Black at the bag, 4 for 6 on stolen bases, as Ballou takes the breaking ball on the outside corner, 0-1. So the hit by Black to start the inning breaks the streak of 12 in a row retired by Tynes, including the 6 strikeouts. 0-1 the count on the right fielder from Texas. Pitch to the lefty, and Ballou bounces it foul through his legs and back to the Blues dugout. No balls and 2 strikes. Tynes trying to bear down. We hear glove popping, though I think that the Blues have activity in the bullpen. We can't see it from where we're sitting here at Pershing Park, but With Tynes this deep into the ballgame, you have to assume the Blues are warming someone up. Pick to first, and back in there is Ryan Black. The DH today from UT Arlington, as we mentioned, 4 stolen bases on 6 attempts. But with how much of a premium base runners are at for the Foresters, we'll see if they do send the runner. Another pick, and Black dives back in yet again. Tag attempt by Tollerman, not in time. Max Ballou at the plate. Came into this game a .375 hitter. Today is 0 for 2. Tynes comes set, glove held at the belt. He deals, no movement, and the ball in dirt. Spear blocks it, but it gets off his chest protector towards the Foresters' dugout. Spear can't keep it in front. The runner moves up into scoring position, and now the tying run at second with nobody out.
Just really unfortunate there for the San Luis Obispo Blues, just that ball getting away. And you got a speedy runner now in scoring position. Didn't even need to steal. It's kind of a free 90 right there.
And Spear, who gave up the potential, or gave up the winning run in the first game of the series with a pass ball, lets this one get by as well. And here a grounder from Ballou into left field, a base hit. Coming up from left is Giovanni Blanchette, the runner. Black back to third. And back-to-back hits to open the frame for the Foresters. They're in business. Tying run and go-ahead run on. First and third, nobody out.
Yeah, slowly starting to fall apart here. It's a 2-strike base hit for Ballou. The CCL South hitter of the week. Makes sense. Came through right there, but luckily Blanchette with a good throw to home. They got to throw up the stop sign there for Black, but the Foresters got something cooking here.
So now the Blues this inning went from keep the lead to now you really just want to make sure you don't give up more than the 1 run. Here's Will Rogers, who was grounded out and struck out. Tying run at third with nobody out. Ballou will lead off first, and Rogers ropes a line drive into left field. It's a base hit past the diving Darcy. Here comes the tying run. Ballou to second. 3 hits to open the inning for the Foresters, and this game is tied 1-1.
Yep, it's really easy to put together runs like that when you get back-to-back-to-back hits. And the ball gets right past Darcy into left, and Black can just jog into home.
Santa Barbara opened this inning with just the 1 hit. Now 3 in this frame alone, and Caden Tynes is yet to retire a batter. Here's John Newman, the catcher. It's nearly impossible to see here at Pershing Park with how low the sun is, right at the eye level of everyone in the stands. 0-0 with Ballou at second, Rogers at first, and a check swing go-around by John Newman. No balls and 1 strike. So Tynes now just trying to keep this a tied game. Potential go-ahead run for the Foresters here in the 7th is at second base, and Max Ballou with good speed. Tynes looks in at Newman, now comes home, and Newman swings and misses at the breaking ball. No balls and 2 strikes.
It's the first time we've seen that changeup in quite a while. Lower in the zone, Newman went after it.
Ballou at second, Rogers at first. The Foresters have tied this game up here in the 7th inning and looking to add more. Catcher from UCSB at the dish, 0-2 on the way. And Newman down on strikes. He chased the breaking ball, and that's another strikeout for Tynes. Now 1 out here in the 7th. He needed that one.
Yeah, I was just going to say, that's a big strikeout for Tynes, especially now that you got a runner at first base. You can just force a ground ball from Galvan here. You can just flip a double play and get out of it, leave that inning with a tie score.
Here's Rylan Galvan, the first baseman from Texas. Struck out looking his last time up after popping out to shallow center his first time. Go-ahead run at second. Tynes looks back at Ballou. A second look, now he comes home, and Galvan swings and misses at the breaking ball. No balls and 1 strike. In this inning, Caden Tynes has seen his lead evaporate. 3 hits to start the inning for the Foresters. After the strikeout, there's now 1 out. The go-ahead run at second. Another runner in Rogers at first. Tynes, a deep breath, comes set at the belt, now comes home. And Galvan ropes a line drive into center field. It falls for a base hit. Lewis coming up with a strong arm. His throw coming to home. Spear grabs it. The tag is in time. They got him. Ballou gunned out at the plate by Jariah Lewis. And that's a big play for the Blues. This game is still tied.
Wow, you forecasted it, Jack. The strong arm from Jariah Lewis. This is on 1 hop directly into the chest of Matt Spear, and he places the tag perfectly. Ginormous out for San Luis Obispo.
San Jose State to San Jose State as Jariah Lewis threw it into Matt Spear, something I'm sure they've got a lot of practice with. And Lewis, a huge throw, and the Foresters not able to tie the game on their 4th hit of the inning. Here's Jalen Flores trying to make sure this inning doesn't go completely to waste. 1 run in for the Foresters, but Max Ballou thrown out at home by Jariah Lewis for the second out. Still 2 runners on, 2 outs. Here's the pitch, and Flores takes the breaking ball inside. 1 ball and no strikes. Flores has walked and struck out in this game. He's 0 for 1. Tynes just trying to get through the 7th, get the Blues back up with the tie game. Rogers at second, Galvan at first as Tynes look to the second base bag. He brings it home, and Flores bounces it foul down the third base line. 1 ball and 1 strike. Words can't completely describe how important that throw was from Jariah Lewis. Game stays tied, rubber match between these two teams. First 2 games have gone to extra innings. Might be on that path again today. Caden Tynes, though, just trying to keep this one tied. Doesn't want the Foresters to take the lead here in the 7th. He comes set and brings it home. Flores takes a little bit high, 2-1. Tynes squeezed to the top of the zone.
Yep, haven't been getting that call today. That breaker in the top of the zone. Still waiting for it.
Tynes still staring at his sign from Spear. 2-1 pitch incoming. Here it is. Flores hits it on the ground towards third. Darcy gloves it. He'll go the short way to second, and the Blues get the final out. Foresters tie the game on 4 hits in the inning, where they strand 2 runners, so it's tied heading into the 8th. Stop me if you've heard that one before. 1-1 when we return on the SLO Blues streaming network. Welcome you back to Pershing Park here in Santa Barbara. This game is now tied. It's 1-1 here in the top of the 8th, and the top of the order comes up after Sam DiCarlo. It's DiCarlo, Giovanni Blanchette, then Theo Hardy due up for the Blues in this 8th inning. Now 1-1 game. Turnquist stays on the hill, and he deals to DiCarlo, who takes the breaking ball in there for a strike. 0-1 the count.
Now batting second baseman, number 30.
I hope the viewers at home are wearing sunscreen on their face, because you could probably feel the sun through your computer screen.
0-1. DiCarlo swings at the breaking ball, no balls and 2 strikes. Sun continues to be an issue here at Pershing Park, and the Blues, for the first time in this game, do not have the lead. Run came across to score in the bottom half of the 7th on 4 base hits for the Foresters. And the Foresters would have the lead if not for Jariah Lewis throwing out a runner at home. 0-2 on the way. DiCarlo down on strikes. A 3-pitch strikeout for Turnquist as Newman straightens up and throws him out at first on the drop third strike. That's the already 4th strikeout for Turnquist of the 4 outs he's gotten.
And that's how the Blues have been getting out today. They've been going down by, as Darnaso would say, the way of the K.
So here's Giovanni Blanchette, who the leadoff hitter for the Blues is 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. Blues just need to find a way. They've led since the 2nd until this 1-1 tie now. Trying to find a way to get back on the board as Blanchette swings and waves at the high fastball. No balls and 1 strike.
Just really can't get a hold of that fastball at all. I don't think anyone's made contact on it.
14 strikeouts now for the Blues in this game. as Turnquist has 4 of his own. He takes a deep breath, comes home, and Blanchette takes a little off the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike. This is, I think, the livest arm that we've seen all weekend. Turnquist is now thrown in his 2nd game of the series. Fastest fastball on the staff. And he's had great control of the breaking ball. He readies up. 1-1 count. Pitch on the way. And Blanchette takes high, 2-1. It's Blanchette, then Hardy who's on deck. And if the inning can get there, Cam Constantine in the hole. Turnquist nods, comes set, and deals. Blanchette swings and ropes it on the ground, gloved by the pitcher. Turnquist underhand flips, and a nice play by the right-handed arm. That's the 2nd out here in the inning. And it looks like it's not Theo Hardy to bat. It'll be Cade O'Hara to pinch hit here with 2 outs in the 8th inning.
And I think the Blues hitters have just been getting beat by the fastball. They just can't seem to get their timing right on that. So I think their best hope right now is to go after that slider. And that's exactly what Blanchette did on that swing.
Cade O'Hara taking over for Hardy in the 2 spot. First at bat for O'Hara on the day, and it comes against Turnquist with 2 outs. And straight away, O'Hara lines it into left field. It's a base hit. Cade O'Hara right off the bench cracks the fastball into left, and the Blues have a runner on here in the 8th. Cam Constantine coming up. Nice at bat for O'Hara.
Yeah, and he looks like Turnquist went out with that slider, and that's what O'Hara was hunting. And he just pulls it into left field. They got a runner aboard with 2 outs.
Here's Cam Constantine, who's 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts, has knocked in 5 runs, tied for the Blues' team lead in league play. 1 would be huge here. 1-1 game in the top of the 8th. And nice to see for O'Hara, who'd been struggling at the plate, comes immediately off the bench and picks up a base hit. O'Hara leads off first. 1 for 1 on stolen base attempts on the summer, and Constantine takes the fastball 0-1. Runs have been few and far between for both teams in this series. A 1-1 tied game here in the top of the 8th. Some of the best pitching all season on display. Turnquist comes set. 2 looks to first, he brings it home, and Constantine takes outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. This is some Red River rivalry action. You've got O'Hara from Texas at first, Constantine from Texas at the plate, and the Oklahoma right-hander Carson Turnquist on the hill. 1-1 pitch, here it comes. Constantine swings and misses at the high fastball, and now Turnquist is a strike away from getting out of the 8th inning. 6'5" right-hander, the Sooner. A strike away in this inning, looking in at his rival, the Texas Longhorn, with Cade O'Hara also leading off first. O'Hara last pitch, faked as if he was going to steal, but then retreated back to the bag. See if the Blues run him at all. 1-2. 2 looks to first. Now Turnquist comes home. O'Hara runs, and Constantine down on strikes. Another strikeout for Turnquist out of the pen. That's 5 in 2 innings, and the Blues don't score in the 8th. We head bottom 8. It's still 1-1 on the SLO Blues streaming network. pitcher into the game for the Blues here in the bottom of the 8th. It's Josh Blum taking over for Keaton Tynes. Tynes' day is done. 1 earned run across 7 innings. He was amazing. But Josh Blum into this game, the 6'1", 195-pound right-hander who got the loss in the first game of this series, came in to pitch the 10th, only gave up 1 hit and didn't give up a single ball that was hit hard. The 1 hit just a bunt single, but he ended up getting the loss with the 2 runs in the 10th. And now a redemption chance trying to keep things tied here in the 8th inning. And he'll start it off immediately by facing a pinch hitter. It's Gianni Horvat to bat for Jake Kendrow. Horvat homered here on the 4th and gets his first at-bat here in the 8th inning. Josh Blum, the right-hander from USC, deals. Horvat squares to bunt and takes high. 1 ball and no strikes. Horvat, a power speed guy. 12 for 12 on stolen bases. Also 2 home runs in the CCL South. Blum with a 1-0 count. Kicks and fires. And Horvat takes way high and it hit him. Horvat gets clipped on the jersey. And our runner with speed is on base. The go-ahead run here in the 8th.
Yeah, I was just going to say, not only is that a runner with speed, but that run goes ahead in this ball game. So hopefully not a costly mistake there for Blum, but you certainly don't want to start an inning off like that.
Horvat leads the CCL South in stolen bases. He has yet to be thrown out. We'll see if the Forcers put him on the move. Also maybe a bunt scenario here for Greg Pace, who's 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a pop-out. 1-1 game here in the rubber match. Pace does square, and he takes a fastball in the outside corner. No balls and 1 strike. So Blum, another opportunity to come in and pitch, but he has to do it in a situation like this where every pitch matters a whole ton, and the other team's going to be trying to bunt, which it worked successfully for the Forcers the last time. Blum trying to limit the damage here. Pick goes to first. A little high, but Tullerman able to keep it in front. An 0-1 count on Pace, who's going to try and move Horvat over to second.
And the situation is extra hard after hitting Horvat in the first at-bat.
Blum, the USC right-hander, comes set at the belt. The Trojan deals, Pace squares, and takes strike 2. Fastball at the top of the zone. And now we'll see if the Forcers pull the bunt sign. They didn't in Game 1. It was extra innings, top of the 10th, a 0-0 game. They had a runner at second. They kept bunting in a 3-2 count, laid it down, and Blum couldn't get off the mound quick enough to stop the perfectly rolling bunt. Ended up being a single. 0-2. Pace doesn't square. He swings and misses, and Spear loses the ball trying to throw out Horvat. So a stolen base for Horvat. No bunt, but it works just the same. The go-ahead run now at second base with 1 out.
And Horvat got a good jump on that steal right there. You do get the 1 out and the K on Pace, but now you got some speed and scoring position over there at second base. And Patterson, who's been one of the best hitters, if not the best, for the Foresters.
Tough break for Spear, who was trying to gun out Horvat. Just didn't focus on the ball before the throw, and it popped out of his glove. Now an RBI chance for Daniel Patterson, who had the first hit of this ball game in the first inning. Since then, he's grounded out to third and popped out to second. Horvat, excellent speed. Go-ahead runner at second base here in the 8th. A pick there. It's close, and it bounces off to Carlo. Blum had Horvat if he could make a good throw, but he threw it in the dirt.
Oh, it's a tough break. That would have been a huge out there. You get 2 outs now on Patterson instead of the 1 and runner in scoring position, but that throw just skips into second. Not quite in time.
Sun setting out in left field. Almost clear of the trees, and then we'll finally be able to see with the lights coming on here at Pershing Park. Daniel Patterson at the dish. 5 runs batted in league play so far this summer for the third baseman from Westmont College. 1 here would give the Foresters the lead in the rubber match of this series. Blum comes set and comes home. Patterson takes a front door breaking ball in there, strike 1. That's the slider from Blum. When he's confident, that's the pitch he'll go to for outs. He was able to strike out Pace with it. Now he has to go through the top of the order. Go-ahead run at second in Gianni Horvat, who bounces towards third, and Patterson grounds it. Backhanded play by O'Hara. A long throw is low, and it's to the dugout. Horvat's coming in to score, and the Foresters lead 2-1 on the error by Kate O'Hara.
Quite a costly error there. That just costed them a run.
And it's not Kate O'Hara went in to play third base. I can't tell. It looks like him and Cody Darcy are mixed up, but I think it was Kate O'Hara who tried to make a running play, threw it off the Blues dugout, and Horvat came in to score. The Foresters lead for the first time in this game. It's 2-1 as this game has flipped on its head the last 2 innings.
Yeah, it looked like Darcy and O'Hara were both converging on that ball. Horvat doing a good job. A ball hit in front of him. Don't go to third right away. He held up, Saw that third was wide open, took off. Didn't matter because the throw went awry. He came in to score.
And again, Blum doesn't allow a hit so far, but the go-ahead run has come in to score. Another unlucky outing for Blum, and this time Spear can't block it, and he can't find it. Moving around to second is Patterson. A pass ball by Matt Spear. Potentially a wild pitch on Blum, but that one bounced right off Spear, and it just didn't get his chest protector down in time, and now another run moves up to third.
And the infield's going to come in now as Patterson reaches third on that pass ball. But a runner that was on that came via hit by pitch, and now a run that's on by an errant throw.
1-0 the count on Ryan Black, and Black checks his swing on a breaking ball down low. 2 balls and no strikes. And the Blues led nearly all the way through this game before a run came in to score for the Foresters on 4 hits in the 7th against Caden Tynes. And now a run here in the 8th. The Blues have watched their lead completely disappear. 2-0. Now Black lifts this one to shallow left in foul territory. Blanchette ranges over the line, but no one makes the catch. Blues run into each other. It's O'Hara and Blanchette. They count 2-1. Tough blow for the Blues. The pitching's been so good in this series. They've just gotten basically no help from the offense. And now they're in line if they can't come across with a run in the top of the 9th from losing this game and losing this series, despite another excellent performance from the Arms.
That's been the story of the season so far. We prefaced it in this game. Offense needed to come through. But they got dealt pretty tough hand. Some pretty challenging pitchers for Santa Barbara today.
Blum delivers. Black takes in the dirt. This time Spear blocks it up. 3 balls and 1 strike. You don't want to walk Black. It would set up a potential double play, but at this point, you want to limit the base runners as much as possible. I feel like one more hit, and Santa Barbara can really bust this game open. 3 balls, 1 strike. Infield still in. Here's the pitch. And Black takes in the dirt. A glove block by Spear. Another runner aboard, first and third with 1 out.
Well, that is the bright side. You said it. They got 1 out. You got the runner on first. If you can just force a ground ball here, you can just flip 2 and get out of this one right away and actually minimize the damage with just the 1 run. Still got to come back from behind. But it would be nice to get a little DP action happening as Dean Traynor heads out to talk to Blum.
Dean Traynor coming out. We're going to take a step away here on the SLO Blues streaming network. Blues trail it for the first time, 2-1 here in the 8th. The batter is Max Ballou here with Dean Traynor departing in the bottom of the 8th inning. The Blues will play the corners in, middle back with first and third, 1 out here in the 8th. Runner on the move. Ballou swings and misses, and again Spear drops the ball behind the plate. So a stolen base for Ryan Black as Spear can't hold on. No balls and 1 strike. Now 2 runners in scoring position.
And some more defensive miscues behind the plate. Blues playing with an arm behind their back. It's an opportunity where we could have maybe thrown out the runner.
Time is called, and they're going to intentionally walk Ballou. This will create a force opportunity at the plate. You know, double play is back in order, and the batter will be Will Rogers, who singled in a run his last time up.
Now batting for the Foresters. Sponsored by Howard.
So these last 2 innings have really gotten away from the Blues. 4 hits in the last inning. Blues were lucky to only give up the 1 run, but now another run in. It's 2-1 Foresters, and a chance for them to add more. 1 out, and the bases loaded. Rogers, who's got one of the RBI in this game. Big, strong, tall right-hander. Swings to the first pitch. It's a slider from Blum. He's been out ahead of those breaking balls all series. As Spear almost threw the ball away from Blum, it bounces off the mound. And an 0-1 count.
Yeah, the infield needs to take a meeting here. Just got to get on the same page. Hit reset. Take a big, deep breath. A lot of thinking happening on defense right now. A little too tight.
The Blues haven't won a series against Santa Barbara in the last 2 summers, and it looks like they may be on their way to dropping this rubber match and dropping the opportunity to win this series unless they can find a way to score. Right now it's at least the 1 run in the 9th. Could be more if Rogers is able to come through here. And the Foresters will continue to haunt the Blues across these last 2 summers. Foresters haven't lost a league series all year, so they're trying to pick up this win to keep that streak alive. 0-1 on Rogers as Blum deals, and Rogers hits a liner into right. Going back is the right fielder, Constantine. He spots up, makes the catch. Tagging from third is Daniel Patterson. He's in to score, and not out at third is Ryan Black, and the Blues burst out of the dugout. Dean Traynor is going to argue this, and I'm not surprised if he'll get tossed out of this game.
No, I think he was clearly out right there, and good on Cam Constantine for going to third on that play. It's not a guy; he's a guy who doesn't have that much experience out there in the outfield. Elects to go over to third, and it was the right idea. It was the right throw. It was a great throw, just one hop right to Darcy, and everyone knew right away that he was out.
Patterson scores none either way, but Ryan Black, who was tagging from second to third, was clearly out on the throw from Daniel Patterson. He went into a head-first slide, but Darcy made an immediate tag. Dean Traynor berating the third base umpire, and within a couple seconds of Traynor going out there, the umpire just walks away.
And now batting for the Foresters,
Traynor now continues to chirp as he walks backwards towards the dugout. That's a big run. It's now 3-1 Santa Barbara. The Blues will need now at least 2, and now there's runners at first and third with 2 outs. Here's John Newman. Rogers picks up another run batted in on the sacrifice fly.
Surprised he wasn't out there longer. That's a huge run.
That fastball's on the outside corner. I mean, I think Traynor would have been out there longer had the umpire not just dodged any argument. He just completely walked away from Traynor. He didn't want to hear anything from the manager, former manager of Team China, former pitching coach for the Miami Marlins. 0-1, and that slider is low. We've seen Dean Traynor at least put on some theatrics at home and get tossed out of some games early. This time, he had a legitimate gripe about the play at third and not a chance to even argue his point of view.
And not a guy who's afraid to follow the umpire as well. Surprised that didn't happen.
1-1. And Newman swings and misses at the fastball, reeling backwards. He's late. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Newman's 0 for 3 with a ground out, a fly out, and a strikeout. The Foresters have scored 3 runs now in the last 2 innings to grab a 2-run lead. Now the base runners are Black at third, Ballou at first. Blum, a 1-2 count. Kicks and deals. And Newman takes a little off the plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes. If you're looking ahead to the 9th inning, where we know at least for now the Blues will need at least the 2 runs, it'll be Matt Spear, Zach Tollerman, Justin Trimble coming to the plate for San Luis Obispo. Two on the way. Ballou takes off, and Newman cracks a fly ball to right. Heading back is Constantine, who now comes in a little bit to his left to make the one-handed catch. 2 runs for the Foresters. They've taken the first lead of this game. As we head to the 9th inning, Blues need 2 to tie, 3 to get to the bottom of the 9th. And for a chance to win, it's 3-1 when we return on the SLO Blues streaming network. last chance for the Blues. It's now 3-1 Foresters after Santa Barbara scored 3 runs across the last 2 innings, and the Blues need 2 to tie, 3 to try and win it in the bottom of the 9th. And they'll send Matt Spear, Zach Tollerman, Justin Trimble to the plate. And this game has completely gotten away from the Blues, and one of the reasons, they just haven't been able to add. They scored a run in the second. Since then, they've been completely stifled by Foresters pitching. 4 hits and 1 million strikeouts. And here's Carson Turnquist, who has 5 Ks in his 2 innings of work to try and close things out and pick up a save. He deals to Spear, and that fastball's at the bottom of the zone. No balls and 1 strike. Matt Spear has singled and scored. He's had the 1 run for the Blues in this game. He's also struck out and lined out to center. Here comes the 0-1, and Spear takes the breaking ball low. 1 ball and 1 strike. The Blues need someone to get on, and they need to find a way to score 2 runs if they want to extend this game and extend this series. A rubber match between Santa Barbara and San Luis Obispo, right now leaning towards the side of the Foresters. As Spear grounds it right back into the glove of the pitcher Turnquist, who steadies up, makes the underhand toss to first in time for the out.
It's a good swing by Spear. He had some solid contact there, but unfortunately just bounces right to Turnquist. He can just make the easy play and flip it over to first.
So now the only 2 outs that weren't strikeouts gotten by Turnquist are ground outs right back to him. So all the Blues have been able to do against the big, tall right-hander from Oklahoma is strike out or ground it out right back to the pitcher. Here's Zach Tollerman with 1 out, who takes a fastball at the top of the zone. No balls and 1 strike.
It's not a pitch that's been getting called.
It feels like the zone, you're right, Nate, is getting a little bit bigger as this game draws on. I say the first 2 pitches to both hitters in this inning were not strikes earlier in the game. 0-1 the count on Zach Tollerman, who's doubled, grounded out, and struck out in today's game. 0-1. Tollerman takes a breaking ball on the outside corner. No balls and 2 strikes. So now Tollerman has to battle. Turnquist looking for his first save of the summer. No balls, 2 strikes, and an out. The Oklahoma righty deals, and Tollerman just barely taps it foul off the plate. Still no balls and 2 strikes. Blues would love nothing more than maybe a bloop and a blast, a hit batter, a walk, some free 90 of any kind. They just need a base runner, at least 1, to have a chance in this game. 0-2 on the way. And Tollerman grounds it to second. In comes Horvat, who came in as a pinch hitter. He throws out Tollerman at first by a couple of steps, and there's 2 away.
Yeah, some soft contact and a really easy 2 outs here for Turnquist in the 9th.
Now the last chance for the Blues. It's Justin Trimble, the designated hitter, who has the lone RBI in this game. Grounded out to second in his first plate appearance. Picked up an RBI, knocking in Spear from third. Since then, a flyout and a strikeout. Blues hitting is just not found a way to win them games. They were gifted game 2 by Foresters' mistakes after losing game 1 being shut out. And here on the verge of losing at Pershing Park and losing the series. The pitching has been excellent. The Blues, their last chance to find offense and not let the pitching down. 1-0. Trimble takes a fastball for a strike, 1-1. Trimble trying to extend this game for Cody Darcy, who stands on deck. Tying run is in the on-deck circle. 1-1 on the way. And Trimble lines it into right center field, heading over the right fielder, Ballou, and he lunges and makes the catch for the final out of the inning. The Foresters pitching dominates once again, and the Blues can't find a getaway to get it done on offense. It's a 3-1 final score as the Foresters take game 3, take the rubber match, and take the series against the Blues.
Really a deflating loss, I think, for San Luis Obispo. Caden Tynes, hats off to him. Kid pitched his butt off, and I think it's just the theme we've been seeing all season, some more offensive frustrations. They have to come through with the sticks if they want to be relevant for a playoff push.
The Blues fall to 6-9 in league. The Foresters continue in first place. They are now 12-5 in the CCL South. The pitching dominated again, Nate. 3 runs, only 2 of them were earned. Now the Blues have only allowed 15 earned runs in the last 7 games, which, if you're doing the math, that's an ERA right around 2, especially when you consider 2 of those games went to extras, where they just cannot find a way to win the games as the offense lets down the pitching once again. It's a 3-1 final, and now the Blues turn their attention to a 3-game series against the Oaks this weekend before retaking on the Foresters at Sinsheimer Stadium on Monday. But it'll be Friday, that's tomorrow, at home versus the Oaks, then a 2-game overnight stay in Thousand Oaks against Conejo.
Yeah, you can hit the reset button as many times as you want, and I think this weekend with the Conejo Oaks is a great time to do that. Start getting the sticks going, and I think for them, they just have to get going off the field, whether it's in the cages. They got to have more conversations with the coaches. Something has to change with the bats.
Well, the bats fail once again. The Blues lose this one, a final score of 3-1. But there were points in this series where the Blues looked like a team that was on the mend and bouncing back from a slower start to league play. So they need to find a way, keep the pitching, find the hits, and then they've got a chance to maybe go on a run down the stretch in the CCL South. For Nate Mills, I'm Jack Smith saying thank you for tuning in this weekend on the SLO Blues streaming network. The Blues lose the Revolutionary War to the Foresters, who continue in first place. We'll see you tomorrow, 6:05 p.m. start from Sinsheimer Stadium against the Oaks.